Terima kasih Pak Sandi buat waktunya, buat perkenanannya. Izinkan saya to introduce Dr. Timothy Low here. And Dr. Timothy Low, this is Pak Sandiaga Uno. I've passed Dr. Timothy Low your book to Pak Sandi, and I hope you two will get to meet one day. It'll be a beautiful.
Thank you, Dr. Timothy Law. It's an honor and privilege for me to meet with you and look forward to seeing you in person. And hopefully, these sessions will bring a lot of benefit to all participants. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you, Pak Sandi. It's good to at least see you on Zoom, but I think Yvonne has passed you my latest book, Patching
Yes.
Up Wellness, and I hope you can, give me some feedback after reading it.
Will do. I will. I love reading. I'm a ferocious reader, so it's along with Peter Attia latest books on longevity, which is called Outlive, and also Dr. David Sinclair book on health span and lifespan. I put your book as the must read of this year in my book club.
Thank you.
Terima kasih sekali lagi Pak Sandi. Selamat
Thank you.
beraktivitas. Thank you
Bye-bye.
Pak buat insight, buat
Sukses to
semua
all of you.
pemaparannya. Thank you. Salam sehat.
Salam sehat. Penuh semangat.
Amin. So, Bapak Ibu yang terhormat, we are moving from leadership perspective, how the wellness economy change our life. Kita berkenalan langsung oleh a healthcare leader, former CEO from Gleneagles Hospital Singapore, Farrer Park Hospital Singapore, and with his extensive experience in healthcare leadership, he brings a powerful perspective on how health system must evolve from reactive care to preventive and sustainable wellness. Without further ado, I will welcome and let's welcome Dr. Timothy Low with us.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. I'm
Terima
glad
kasih
to be
banyak
able to
para peserta.
share what I have learned throughout the
Ya, ketika
past
saya sedang
2 years that I have been with or I have used LifeWave products, and I hope that this sharing will help you. And if there are any questions later, you're free to ask me. So maybe I can start with my slides. Yes. So tonight I'll be sharing with you the supporting your wellness journey, because all of us would love to be well, whether we are young, whether we are getting on in age, we want to be well. So how do we ride this wellness and ride the wave of light? These are innovative patches that LifeWave has innovated, and this is done by Dr. David Smith. Next, please. Okay, this is very important, LifeWave disclaimer. So every time you talk about LifeWave products, you must keep this in mind, right? That LifeWave products, they are for general wellness and intended only to maintain the general state of health and healthy activity, healthy living. So the content provided by LifeWave is presented in a summary form. It's general in nature, provided for information. Always consult with your physician, with your doctor, and other qualified healthcare provider. I'm in a good position because I'm a doctor. So talking about this, consulting me, I'm actually just, as a physician, as a doctor, talking about LifeWave products. So before you start on your LifeWave journey, make sure you have this disclaimer when you talk to people. Next, please. Just a little background. Next, please. Yes, I have been in healthcare for more than 30 years. Right, I'm a medical doctor. I've been in both public hospital as well as private practice. In private practice, I was the CEO of Gleneagles Hospital in Singapore. Previously, I think there was a Gleneagles in Indonesia also. Previously, long time back. Also, CEO and board director of Farrer Park Hospital is a private hospital, and also head of healthcare investment at the Pavilion Capital, which is Temasek in Singapore. And the others are just some of my awards that I've obtained over the past few years in my career. Next, please. I have written my first book, The Triangulation of Success. This book is actually talking about how you manage an organization and how you lead an organization. But this can cut across whether organization or company, or if you're leading a small team. In LifeWave, you have to actually be in a team to be able to grow. It is important. You do yourself, you can. But to grow, you need to have a team. And how do you manage your team? How do you lead your team? This book also helps to share with you in terms of leadership and management. Next, please. This is my second book, which just came out about 2 months ago. I told myself that is the only book I will write, The Triangulation of Success. And somehow I started writing the second book, and it came out 2 months ago, Patching Up Wellness. Why did I write this book? It's because when I was in LifeWave, using LifeWave products, I'm not an employee of LifeWave, but when I use LifeWave's products, a lot of people asking me, what is phototherapy? How do the patches of LifeWave help me? And to explain that, it is not so easy for a lot of people, right? Because phototherapy is light therapy. And to explain that to people who don't know about LifeWave patches, LifeWave products, this book will help you. It will also help you to expand your business, because the first thing that people will ask you is, what is phototherapy? And how does phototherapy help me? And why do I need phototherapy? And why do I need phototherapy now? Right? So this is very simple that I've written the science behind phototherapy, and also some patches. How do you use it? It is not a protocol book, not patching protocol, but it is a phototherapy book. That means before you even get people to join LifeWave, they will always ask you all these questions, and then you can use this book knowledge to share with them, right? And why do I use LifeWave products? I have used LifeWave products for about 2 years. I started using it because I have a neck problem. I have my neck pain. So it's called cervical spondylosis, meaning degeneration of my neck bones. And it is also pressing on my nerve. So I get numbness of my fingers, but my neck is stiff 24 hours a day, right? Of course, when I sleep, I can sleep, but it's very uncomfortable. I have suffered that 20 years. Can you imagine 20 years, every day, stiff neck, uncomfortable feeling? And because I'm a doctor, so I will prescribe myself medicine, painkillers, muscle relaxant. I go for acupuncture, the Chinese traditional medicine, acupuncture. I think the Malay urut, Indonesian also, I think, have urut. Chiropractor, I went for everything. It only helped me 1 week. The pain, stiffness came back. So 20 years I've suffered that. And then just as I was about to give up trying anything and everything, Wendy and Jonas came to see me. Wendy and Jonas is from Singapore. They came to see me and say, why don't you try these patches? I said, what is it? Being a doctor, I'm very skeptical. And even if you're not a doctor, when you talk to people, they will also say, what is it? Does it work? They will also be skeptical. And doctors are even worse because they are even more skeptical, and you need to prove to them that there is evidence to show that the patches does work. You need clinical trials to show evidence, right? So Wendy and Jonas provided me with the data, the evidence, the clinical trials, and I looked at it and I said, okay, why not? Why not try? So I tried it. For 6 months, I felt a little bit helping me, only for a little bit. The stiffness was down a little bit. Then I was telling Wendy, I was telling Jonas, you told me it's very effective, but I used 6 months and it only helped me a little bit. But they say, can you sleep better? I say, yes. They asked me, do I look younger? I looked and I said, okay, people tell me I look younger because X39, the patch, will also age reverse to make your cells look younger. I said, okay, I look younger. But then my main concern is my stiffness and my aching neck. That is my main concern, right? So I continued. I continued for 9 months. And after 9 months, what happened? The pain, the stiffness all went away. So for people who are impatient, if they use for 6 months and they feel that, the condition is only improved a little bit, you must tell them, be patient. Because I was impatient. But, people like Wendy and Jonas tells me, be patient, try, and continue. So after 9 months, it went away. So until now, I've used it for 2 years. My neck stiffness and pain is no more. My backache is not there. So basically, it has helped me a lot. And being a doctor suffering for 20 years, my neck condition, try everything. This is a wonderful technology and innovation. So nothing beats using it yourself and then sharing it with people, right? And so each of us, our body is different. So it may work in 3 months, 4 months, it may work 9 months, it may work after 12 months. Each of us are different. All the conditions are different. All right. So next, please. Yes, next, please. So we support our wellness. We support our wellness through light-based technology. This is important, right? Light-based technology. Next, please. And ancient roots of light, they use light for healing. The Egyptians, long time ago, the Egyptians and the Greeks in Greece, they know that sunlight is very useful, right? So they're using light and sunlight for a lot of healing. Next, please. So if you look at modern medicine, the application of light therapy, what What do they use? In babies, you see babies with jaundice. Not all babies, but quite a number of babies, when they're delivered, they have jaundice, yellow color. Their eyes, the white color part, looks yellow, and their skin also looks yellow because of bilirubin. They have jaundice. And what do the doctors do in hospital? They put the baby under light. Then when they send the baby home, they tell the parents, put the baby under morning sunlight, right? Maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, put them under morning sunlight. So you're using light for treatment, right? Light therapy. Skin conditions, some skin conditions also, light therapy is used, like psoriasis. Also, certain light frequency is used for treatment of psoriasis. Wound healing is being used, light also being used. So next, please. Also, we know that light's integral role is in wellness now, right? So David Smith has used the light for our wellness. So light has long been part of daily life across many, many different cultures. Egyptians, Greeks, and now the whole world is using it as we share them with a lot of people, right? Next, please. So what is phototherapy? Okay, the word photo, when you take photograph, right? Photo is light. Therapy is treatment. So phototherapy is light treatment. So if you look at the first diagram, light therapy is when we have specific wavelengths that will trigger healing inside our body. The patches are safe, it is non-invasive, and there's no drugs. There's no chemicals in the patch, and nothing goes into the body, right? Except the frequency. So our cells, if you look at the last one, they are made of solar panels. You can consider it solar panels. So phototherapy is needed to recharge our cells. Next, please. Right. Look at the science of photobiomodulation, right? Long word. But if you break it down, photo is a light, right? Bio, biology, bio, our body. Modulation. So light modulating our body. Using light to modulate our body. So photobiomodulation, or PBM. So light is absorbed by our mitochondria, which is the battery of our cells. In every cell, you have mitochondria of our cells. We have mitochondria, and this is used to produce ATP. ATP is the energy. And photobiomodulation also stimulates our own stem cells in our body and also increase peptide GHK copper or GHK-Cu. It also affects repair, it reduces inflammation, it helps in anti-aging. Next, please. So the science of photobiomodulation and effects on stem cells. Yeah, next, please. So this is David Smith. David Smith is the CEO, the founder of LifeWave. He's also the scientist in LifeWave. Why is LifeWave good? It's because every company, we want to make sure that there is a pipeline, not only that few products, or not only the 10 patches, right? If a company has only a few products and no pipeline, the company will not survive. But LifeWave, David Smith is continuously doing a lot of research, coming up with a lot of different innovation. So LifeWave company has a pipeline. And if you look at the drug company, if they don't have a pipeline of drugs, after a while, the company will die. But LifeWave there are many more products that is in research that is coming up over the next few years. So there is pipeline so that the company can grow. So LifeWave is unique because it is the only phototherapy product in the whole world that uses our own body, our own human body as the power source, right? How does the patch get activated? It is activated by our own body's power and light. Next, please. See, body light. Next, please. Biophoton means the cells are emitting light. And all living things, including our human being, we will emit light. During SARS and during COVID, you will see that there is always a camera, right? If you travel by aeroplane, you will see as you come out of the aeroplane, there's a camera. What are they looking at? They're looking at whether you have fever or not. And if you have fever, you see it will come out red color. If you don't have fever, it'll come out blue color. But all these are light. Our body is emitting light, right? This is to show that light is coming out from our body. Next, please. Okay, now let me go through with you some of the publication, because science is very important. When people are asking you, when you're trying to share with people, they will ask you, is it scientific? You know, is there evidence, a scientific evidence to prove what you're trying to tell me? That's also one of the reasons why I wrote the book, Patching Up Wellness, because the science behind phototherapy, right? So LifeWave has also got the science. PubMed, if you see PUBMED, right? PubMed is actually a worldwide a library. It is very, very well respected. So if you say the article is published in PubMed, everybody in the scientific area will know that it is credible, right? So very important. PubMed, published in PubMed, very credible, because everybody in the whole world will understand. So biophoton, that means light from the cells. Emission is spontaneous, and emission, our cells produce ultra-weak light. And every human being and every living organism produce ultra-weak light. Next, please. Systemic measurements have been performed to measure the photo using a photo detector device. I'm just going through some of the PubMed information. Next, please. Okay, photo detector device, just now you saw, right? The blue color, the red color. Now, this method is a powerful tool for non-invasive medical diagnosis for regulatory function of the body, right? Next, please. Okay, photobiomodulation. If you look at the orange color, that is the mitochondria inside the cell. Mitochondria is the battery, right? I told you. If you're driving an EV car, electric vehicle, you need to charge your EV, right? Otherwise, the car is a very nice car but cannot move. Same thing, our cells has mitochondria, which is the battery of the cell. And how does the cell function? Is all like, how does your EV car move? You need to charge the EV car. Same thing, the light will charge the mitochondria inside our cells. And mitochondria produce ATP, if you see at the bottom, ATP. ATP is the energy. Because for the cells to function, you need energy. And energy comes from ATP. Like you drink Red Bull, you get a boost of energy, right? So mitochondria produce ATP to give the cells energy. And just to give you an idea, of how many mitochondria do we have. If you look at our liver cells, in our liver, there are hundreds and thousands of our liver cell, right? In the whole liver. If you look at one liver cell, how many mitochondria in one liver cell? There are 2,000 mitochondria in one liver cells, right? And we have thousands and hundreds of thousands of liver cells. Not only liver cell, but our whole body is made out of cells. So mitochondria is the power battery of our cells that needs us to charge it with light. Next, please. Right. The studies, which are clinical studies or clinical trials, demonstrated that red to near infrared light is absorbed by the mitochondria, right? The mitochondria absorb the light, which is the battery, and then it produces the energy. Next, please. So the findings of this review suggest that PBMT, photobiomodulation based regenerative medicine, could be useful tool for future advances in tissue engineering and cell therapy. Next, please. So in this medical laser journal, right, it's just another journal. Next, please. It shows that in vitro and in vivo. In vitro means test tube, right? In vivo is in human being. So in test tube and in human being, the clinical studies have shown that the photobiomodulation, PBM, can induce the ADSC. ADSC is the adipose tissue stem cell, which is the fat cells. Our fat cells can differentiate into many different types of other types of cells. Adipocytes is fat cells, osteoblasts is bone cells, and chondrocytes is cartilage cells, right? So these cells our stem cells can differentiate into many different types of cells. Next, please. The research results of PMSC, the bone marrow stem cell, and photobiomodulation widely applied to wound healing, right? So there is science behind whatever we use, there's science behind it, right? So wound healing, fat production, bone formation, when we have fracture, our bones are broken, we need to heal. We need more bone cells to form to heal the fracture. So that's where does it come from? It comes from our stem cells, right? So that's where the cells are multiplying and formation of cells. More significant results come from the use of wavelengths in the near infrared region. That means the frequency, yeah, the different type of frequency, and show remarkable results in wound healing, bone formation. Next, please. So PBM, photobiomodulation, influences the adipose tissue stem cells in wound healing through anti-apoptosis. Apoptosis is cell death. So this and photobiomodulation will prevent the cell from dying, right? So application of photobiomodulation can be a promising combination to improve our stem cell therapy, stem cell treatment. Next, please. Okay, stem cells and GHK copper. GHK is the tripeptide. Why tri-3? Yeah? G is glycine, H is histidine, and K is lysine. All three are amino acids. When you put three amino acids together, it becomes a tripeptide, three peptides, right? Tripeptide copper. Cu is copper. Next, please. If you look at the global market in the whole world, right? From 2020 to 2030, which is another 4 years' time, because we're in 2026 now, by 2030, you will find that the market size for stem cell therapy is moving up, right? The whole world is looking at stem cell therapy. Next, please. and which are the region, right, of the stem cell therapy. North America, 60%. Asia Pacific, 20%. Europe, 15%, and 5% of all the others. This is the market share for stem cell therapy, yeah? So we are in Asia Pacific. So 20% of the whole world stem cell therapy is in Asia Pacific. Next, please. So what are stem cells? One stem cell is the simplest unit of a living matter. Next, please. If you look at stem cells in the middle, stem cells can divide and become muscle cells, become fat cells, can become bone cells for fracture. Can become the blood cells because our blood only lives, a red blood cell only lives for 120 days, 3 months. Then the blood cell will die. So you need regeneration of your red blood cells. So every 120 days or 3 months, the stem cell will produce red blood cells. And now we know that nerve cells are also produced by stem cells. So people with stroke, previously when we say people with stroke, that's it, paralyzed, you know, nothing can be done. But now we know that stem cells can also divide to become nerve cells, and stroke therapy is also being looked into, where stroke patients can benefit from stem cells, right? Immune cells and sex cells. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, this is the Nobel Prize winner, Japanese Nobel Prize winner called Shinya Yamanaka, Professor Yamanaka. He's a stem cell researcher, and he won the Nobel Prize in 2012. He showed that mature stem cells can be reprogrammed to become pluripotent stem cell, meaning pluripotent means many different types of stem cells. I showed you, right? Stem cell can become blood cells, can become bone cells, can become muscle cells. Now heart failure, right? Heart failure, if you use stem cells, the stem cells can also become the heart muscle cells, right? But this is still in research for people with heart failure. Next, please. Aging. Okay. As we age, our stem cells also age, right? So there's degeneration, disability, pain, aches and pains. I think a lot of people has aches and pains, right? So as we age, we'll have aches and pains, dementia will come in, Parkinson's will come in, right? And chronic diseases will come in. Next, please. As I said, as we age, stem cells also age, and then they will die. The stem cells will die. So what do we need to do? We need to stimulate or activate more stem cells. Right, next, please. If you look at a baby, the stem cell activity is 100%. If you look at an 18-year-old person, the stem cell activity has dropped to 40%. And 30 years old has dropped to 25%. So even a sportsman, right? Sportsman in 20 years old, 20-something, 30 years old, you will see that stem cell activity has dropped. And they will need actually help in terms of boosting their stem cells. Once you reach 60 years old, your stem cell activity has dropped to 5%. So that's very significant. That's why you see older people, when they fall down, they break their bones, take longer time to heal, right? Because the stem cell is not so active, only 5%. When a baby or children fall down, break their bones, they heal very fast, right? Because the stem cell activity is 100%. See, next, please. So if you imagine that we activate our stem cells and reset our organs so that we become younger, so that our cells will become younger and healthier. And how do we do that? We use X39, right? Next, please. And because X39 and the other patches, they are so useful, even the athletes, professional athletes, and the Olympic athletes, they are also using the patches. If you look at the Japanese Takanori in the boxing, Miho in paraplegic athletics, Koshiro in discus thrower, they are all using LifeWave patches, right? For energy, for recovery, and also for regeneration. Next, please. So X39, you know that came out in 2018, right? And then in 2019, it was launched. Then COVID, right? 2019 is because COVID-19, right? So 2019, when it was launched, COVID, and COVID lasted 3 years. And we're still having COVID now, but very mild. So it is something that everybody needs in terms of health, in terms of wellness. So current stem cell therapy, we look at it. Stem cell therapy includes everything. There are ethical concerns. There's accessibility concerns. There's affordability concerns, because you can only get stem cells mainly 3 ways into your body. One, you inject. You inject stem cell, it costs about 50 to 70,000 US. Number two, you can take stem cell supplements. Also costs about 1,000 US per month, around there, depending on what you take. But the third way is using the patch, right? X39 and X49. These are 2 stem cell patches. And this is affordable for many people. I wouldn't say it's cheap. I wouldn't say it is too expensive. I think it's affordable for wellness, right? Next, please. If you look at Professor Laurent Picard, he's also a scientist. He is the person who discovered GHK Cu, GHK copper. So 50 years ago, actually, 50 years ago, 1973, Dr. Laurent Picard, he put liver cells from an 80-year-old into a 20-year-old blood of the person, which means taking the cells from an older person, putting it into the younger person, and the liver cells, he found that the 80-year-old liver cells suddenly became young and became healthy. And he wanted to know why. And he found that it is because the GHK copper is causing the old cells to become young, right? So if you give your body GHK copper, or you increase GHK copper in your body, your cells will behave younger, it will become younger. And this is proven, This is proven by Dr. Laurent Picard. So the real power of GHK copper peptide now, next please. GHK copper, the left-hand side is the clinical paper, right? It's in publication, right? The right-hand side, I'm just telling you a summary of what does GHKCU does. What does GHKCU do, right? It tightens our loose skin and reverse thinning of the aged skin. Our skin becomes tighter. It repairs and protects our skin. It improves the firmness and elasticity. Actually, X39 increase GHKCU in our body. And when X39 increase GHKCU in the body, our collagen and our elastin in the skin increase, it improves. You will find that the clarity of the skin is clearer and clearer. Fine lines becomes less and less, right? Wrinkles become not so deep. That's why people tell me after 6 months, I look younger. After I use X39, yeah? So what Dr. Laurent Picard has proven and what Dr. David Smith has done in terms of X39, it is actually regeneration, increased GHK copper, and activates our body stem cells, right? It reduces photo damage, which is sun damage, reduce the pigmentation. It stimulates wound healing, right? Any wound, it will start healing because wound healing needs regeneration, and regeneration comes from stem cells, right? It protects the cells from ultraviolet radiation. Next, please. Okay, what else? What else? GHK-Cu can do many, many things. That's why the X39 is actually the Rolls Royce of LifeWave, because it does a lot of things and a lot of wellness and a lot of good for the body. They produce anti-aging of our cells. It reduces pain, reduces anxiety, repair DNA damage, and promote organ regeneration. That means the cells regenerate, and so also suppresses fibrinogen production, which reduce the blood clot in our system, right? It reduces inflammation. It also increases hair growth. Not everybody, because hair growth is also genetic. So if you have genes that you have not much hair, the genes is there, so the hair will not grow, right? But if it's not genetic, then the hair will grow. Next, please. So how does LifeWave technology work? So LifeWave is non-transdermal. Non-transdermal means nothing goes into the skin, no drug, no chemical, right? And it's simply a lifestyle patch designed to reflect our own body energy back into the skin. So to help us in our healthy and wellness activity. Next, please. This is Dr. David Smith, X39, 2018, introduced LifeWave X39 patch to the world. Next, please. Very important, people will ask you any evidence, any clinical proof. Of course, these are the clinical papers published in journals, right? To show that the patches actually work in humans, right? If you look at the bottom, one is a double-blind placebo-controlled study of LifeWave technology. It relates to the improvement of strength, endurance in high-performance college athletes. So basically, the clinical trials is not done by LifeWave own company. It is done by hospitals. It is done by third-party researchers, which is important. Why? It is not biased. It is done by somebody else. It is not done by the company. Of course, the company came out money to fund the trials, but the trials are done by other researchers, right? Independent researchers. So that's why after 20 years of development and over 80 clinical trials, you find that these are the clinical studies and clinical proof. Next, please. This is one of the study. If anybody asks you, X39, any proof? This is the proof. This is the paper. double-blind testing of X39 to determine GHK copper production level. That means X39 activates our body, produce more GHK copper, and GHK copper activates our body stem cell, as proven by Dr. Laurent Picard. So everything is scientifically proven. If anybody want to ask you any proof, this is the paper, right? Yeah. So after 1 week of using X39, for people who are 40 to 80 years old, this is the summary of the paper. Yeah. Next. This is the result. Next, please. So in as little as 6 months, telomere lengthened to equivalent of 8.5 years of age reversal. What does it mean? It means that after 6 months, our cells age reverse by 8.5 years. This is shown by the clinical study in 86% of people, right? It's not 100% because there's always, in clinical trials, nothing is 100%. So in 86% of people, after consistently putting X39 for 6 months, their cells will become younger by 8.5 years. Next one, next please. Okay, this is me 20 years ago in the business times when I was running Gleneagles Hospital in Singapore. If you look at it, it's 2004. It's business times. 2004 is also when LifeWave started in the US, right? The US government funded David Smith in 2004 to produce patches, and he produced the first patch, which is Energy Enhancer, EE, in 2004. So in 2004, this is how I look like. And then I used the patches for 2 years already. So just before I use the patch, that's the middle picture of me, right, with the red tie. And after 2 years of using the patch, that is the picture on the right side of what I look like. Next, please. So X39 is a new approach to health, improve energy flow. It supports overall health and well-being. It supports exercise performance, right? So for if people say, oh, only these patches only for the older people, no. Even the Olympic, even the athletes, even the young people need it and helps them in exercise performance, right? Even in children, autistic, ADHD. So actually, it's a whole spectrum, right? From kids, from children to young people, and to the older people with dementia, with Parkinson's, with a chronic disease, chronic pain. All of them would benefit from the patches or LifeWave patches, right? So supports improvement in strength, no drugs, no stimulants, and is a patented, more than 200 patents. Next, please. Oh, just some pictures for you to see, right? The difference in terms of people using X39, 1 year, the left-hand side, 1 year, 4 months, 9 weeks, 3 years, 3 months, 1 week. Some people, they respond very, very fast. Within 1 week, you can see the difference. Some people need about 3 months, 4 months. And clinical trials have shown 6 months, 86% has 8.5 years younger. Next, please. Wound healing. If you look at the picture, after 13 months, after 7 weeks, after 10 hours, after 9 days, after 20 days, after 2 hours, different people respond differently, but at the end of the day, they heal, their wound heal faster with the help of X39. Next, please. Hair growth, as I said, if it is not genetic, then it does help hair growth in terms of the stem cells. And this is mainly X39. X49. It is still in clinical research. X49 helps in hair growth, and you can see 3 months, 23 days, 43 days, and a different number of days and months, the hair can grow and the hair become actually more black compared to white. Next, please. Okay, where do we go from here now? We don't just patch, we need to make sure that we improve the quality of our life with also other aspects, right? We need to also have a balanced diet. We need to sleep at least 7 hours a day. Some supplements, if necessary. If we are not eating well in our diet, some supplements, and do some exercise, regular resistance training, drink enough water, that means hydration, and avoid things like too much alcohol, smoking, drugs, stress. Of course, all of us are stressed. We try to reduce our stress, but we still are stressed. So what you do, patch Aeon. I usually patch Aeon here in the night, right in the middle here, third eye, helps me to sleep better and also brings down my stress. Next, please. Okay, I think that's the last slide. This is where I end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tim. If everyone here give a round of big applause here in the office. We wish to see you in person soon. This is a very deep and extensive explanations and experience from you. We totally honored to have your precious time and share moment with us. Allow me to represent most of us, the participants who stay through tonight at webinar. There is one question, Dr. Tim.
Yes.
Having your huge backgrounds in healthcare and leading major hospitals in Singapore, how do you see the global shift? You know how Indonesians look up so much to Singaporean healthcare systems. How do you see the global shift from reactive healthcare to preventive wellness, even in Singapore, and hopefully that will carry through Indonesia, maybe in the next 5 years time frame?
Okay, so a lot of people are looking at sick care, right? Sick care means hospital. When you are hospitalized or when you're sick, you need to go to the hospital, and sick care is actually very expensive. Expensive for the country, expensive for also the individual. If you don't have insurance, right? It's expensive. And it's also expensive for your own health. So in order to have a better quality of life, we need to shift into well care, right? Not sick care, but well care. Well care, how do we improve our lifestyle? How do we improve our nutrition, our exercise, and sleep? Sleep, very important. People tend to forget that we need to sleep enough. So the younger people, right, they tend to sleep at 3 a.m., 4 a.m. because they are playing games, they are, on their computer, on their phone, and they sleep 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and then, of course, not enough sleep. Remember that our liver will detox between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. If we do not sleep between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., our liver do not detox. And when our liver do not detox, we have all the toxins in our body. And over a long period of time, right, we do not get rid of toxins that are in our body. That's why we fall sick. And then we go into sick care. So what we want to do is move ourselves into well care for as long as possible so that you keep the sick care away. Then when we go into elderly, which is called elderly care, or senior care, that's when we want to have a good quality of life and live. I won't say lifespan is important. I would say health span is important, more important than lifespan. What is the use of lying down in bed, paralyzed for the next 20 years? All right, that is lifespan with no health span. Right, so that's the trend now, moving into well care. If you look at Singapore, they are moving a lot of programs into well care, which is like a healthier SG, for example, healthier SG, well care. Indonesian is a very young country, so not so much in sick care. So let's keep it in well care for as long as possible, and make sure you sleep before 1 a.m. to detox your liver.
And patch.
And patch, of course. That's right.
Yes. Well, you look younger and younger, Dr. Tim. That's I think everyone will agree to that. So I look forward to
Thank
seeing you in Singapore, Dr. Tim. Your time has been very precious, invested to us and to a lot of business leaders, and attending with us tonight is a lot of business entrepreneurs from all over Indonesia, from Sumatra to all the way to Papua. So your name and your book will soon be distributed to all of the Indonesia's part. So we look forward. Yes. And we would like to take one chance if there is anyone who is ready for a live questions for Dr. Tim before we close these sessions. Okay, so I guess we don't have a live questions for now, Dr. Tim. We appreciate your time very much, and we hope everyone here benefits so much from the sharing, from the explanations from Dr. Tim, and we would love to have you in Indonesia. Come around, Dr. Tim, anytime.